Well, welcome. We're excited that you're back to talk a little bit more about NCEdCloud. We had a great first meeting back in September of 2024, just doing like a overview of did you know these things are out there for librarians? And this was a good conversation. It came from some requests that we were getting, and then I went to Audrey, who is our digital subscription analyst, and so she and I were talking about how many librarians use these things but might not know what fully exists out there. So that was the first 1.0, and then due to demand, we are back for 2.0. And we've learned some things along the way, and we've talked to some more librarians in the last month or so. So we're excited to show you some things and get you clicking in them. So if you don't have an extra screen up, you might want to have NCEdCloud open, and you're probably going to also want to be, logged in and all that good stuff because we're going to actually do some clicking, try to discover some things. So, Audrey, do you have anything to say to get us started?
No, just want to tell hello, everyone, hello, and so glad you all are here, and just look forward to this second session, among many more that me and Molly have already discussed about having in the future. So again, just ready to get started so you all can see what we have for you all today. And again,
Absolutely.
welcome.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited. We're going to save the best for last because something new has come out since we have talked to you all in September. So Audrey's going to talk us through something called Teach Britannica. So we're saving that for the end because you're probably going to want to spend a good amount of time digging in and talking about it. So we're going to show you a couple things here and there and then get into that really good new stuff. So, and then also shout out to Heather's here. So thank you, Heather, for joining us and just being along for the ride. All right, so we called this one brainstorming, but in talking with Audrey and doing some planning, I was like, I feel like this is like corn maze season, and sometimes digging into some of these things feels a little like a maze. So we went with a theme. It didn't say that. We didn't throw anybody off by, calling it brainstorming 2.0. And we really do want to do some brainstorming with you. One of the things I think Audrey would agree that we've heard a lot from librarians in the last month. Like I said, NCSLMA, we talked about these things. At AIM, we've been talking about these at the conference. I was at NCAT last week talking about this with librarians. So we've heard, and we went to Elizabeth City together and talked to librarians and teachers. So we really have been talking about this a lot with librarians, and we've been brainstorming, but we want to brainstorm with you. So just know that, we kind of hope to involve you a little bit with that. The first thing we want to talk about, though, is in what we hear is this. I really miss NC Wise Owl. And seems like we still need to be doing some conversation about, what's changed and what's actually still the same. So how many of you still feel this way? Or you're hearing your librarian say, I really miss NC Wise Owl. Yeah, Roberta. mm-hmm. That's Yep, Belvis hands up too. So not at all. That's good, Lindsay. That's one of the few that I've heard that from. So
Yeah.
things, and we're gonna come to Nash County to hear about how you're changing everybody's. So I know we discussed this a little bit last month too, but really a big part of it is just the same resources are still there. So there's some confusion. I think people think that everything went away, and it's really just a different way of accessing it. We used to all go in with the same password, and a lot of people posted that password or auto-saved that password or shared the password with everybody and their family members and the people from out of state were probably using it. And to be able to provide these platforms and these resources to people, I can understand why Britannica and why EBSCO and these other platforms that we pay for do kind of require that more extensive sign-in. So we know that that's a reality, and we're going to, talk more in months ahead and in some of the PD that we do about Wise Owl, but I know that that's just one of the things that people tend to ask about. And so these same things are still there. Still EBSCO, still Britannica, still PBS Learning, all that good stuff. So we also, in terms of, Belva, are you raising your hand because of NC Wise Owl, or you got something to say? She might still just be raising her hand for agreeing.
Yeah, I think it's just stuck there.
That's okay. Okay, that's fine. So one of the things that we asked when you signed up for this webinar was specifically this question, like what challenges arise for people using this platform. So same databases, same resources, but just under a different name. And this is what the survey says. So we compiled all of your answers and asked AI to summarize it for us. And this was kind of the big thing. And we just did this. Audrey and I met yesterday. We discussed this specifically. What might this webinar? We asked AI, what should the webinar cover if this is what people are saying the challenges are. And so some of the things that we're going to show you is some kind of quick PD ideas, knowing that some of the challenges is time and as to access to PD. There's a lot of librarians who would love to talk about this and just don't have the platform to do so. We have some kind of what they call quick win features that will save time instead of adding work. I think that was a big problem too, is people feel like it's one more thing to learn. And then we have some fun tasks. These say common tasks, but we decided to make them fun, do some fun exploring with you. And then, just one big one that came up, and Audrey and I talked about this a little bit too, that we hope to follow up. Somebody mentioned about accessibility features and how there's actually barriers. So while we have seen some of the success with some of the accessibility features, we also know that they aren't perfect. So we have some follow-up to do on that too. But we appreciate just having those kinds of things flagged, because Audrey communicates with the people that work behind the scenes at these products. So it's good that we have that information.
And and then one other thing, I know we kept seeing a lot of I think Mollee might have touched on the access issues as far as she did touch base like passwords and everything like that. So we were going to follow up with John, who is basically over NCEdCloud, maybe to see if he might have any ideas about how we can, how we can deal with that. Maybe if we can make it a little bit easier, especially for the little kids, so it won't be so complicated for them. They won't have so many clicks to access different databases. So hopefully the next time we'll be able to have some answers for you for that as well.
So we already have a list. Before this session even started, we had a list of things to follow up on. So it's always a good thing. We know what's coming next. So this is my shout out to Martha, who brought up last time that she used to have a owl candy dish, and that Martha, do you want to unmute and explain that again, or do you want me to do it for you?
I can unmute, and let me turn my camera on real quickly. I still have it. And so I keep it on my desk. I had it when I was a media coordinator. I bought it from Walmart during, I guess, the fall, and I started a weekly Wise Owl Wednesday with my staff, and I would ask a question, and it would be a question they would have to find in NC Wise Owl, and I did it to try to get teachers to use NC Wise Owl, and when they would email me back with the answer, I would reply and say, yes, come get a piece of candy. And it's evolved to now I just keep candy all the time. And when people are stressed, they know they can come in and get a piece of chocolate. So I still have him. He's been going strong for quite some time.
That's
I love
cute.
it. And thank you. I'm glad it stopped. Like she's just proof to the pudding, right? She's not just saying, like, in theory, this was cute. Thank you so much, Martha. So Michelle McNeil watched this video, actually watched the recording, and she was like, I have a solution for Martha. So it was really fun. She pulled me aside at AIM and said, I was thinking about this, and I feel like it could still be done. You just have to change it to something like OWL learn about, blah, blah, blah. So, kind of using the same theme of OWL, and maybe that's another way to kind of do some PR around the fact that it's the same but different, right? We're not using the same access point, but that the platforms are still there. So Michelle suggested something like doing staff emails. So sending like a weekly, so maybe on Wednesday morning, you send an email that says, can you find, and if you can tell me where you found it, come get a piece of candy from the OWL Bowl. And so like OWL learn, or if you can grab 5 minutes before a staff meeting, and again, I know that who knows how many people you'll reach, but if you have candy on board and you say the first 5 people who can find this can get something from the OWL stash, it's a good way to to do it. And I really like this idea too of being like on a fact-finding mission. And so it could be, find a fact and tell me where you found it in one of these platforms. So it almost doesn't matter if it's PBS Learning or Britannica or somewhere in EBSCO, but just getting them in and doing some searching on there might be a good way to build that practice. So again, PD doesn't always have to be that 30 45 minute hour training. It can be something like this in bite size, and Martha was the inspiration, and I thought that was cute, the owl learn about. So with that idea, we were going to give you a chance to see what you could owl learn about. So this is your challenge. Hopefully you brought up NCWise Owl, or not NC, I'm going to say NCWise Owl, NCEdCloud, because we've been saying that, and see if you can go in Britannica. Okay, so we're going to start you in Britannica. I think it has to be middle school or high school to get the collections. Is that right, Audrey?
It's basically middle school. Middle school is the only section that has the collections.
Okay, and tell us in the chat, once you have located in Britannica, locate the collections. I gave you a little hint there. In middle school, even if you're not a middle school teacher, just start there. And then tell us in the chat, what collection did you explore? What did you find? Bonus brownie points that are virtual, unfortunately, because I can't get brownies to across the state right now. I know some of you are close to me. Some of you are very far. But
and then
bonus
and
brownies.
when you go to collections, then you want to search at a glance, because then that's when all and when you search at a glance, all of collections that will come up under at a glance.
All right, Belva was the fastest, so she listened to have it up and be ready. So Belva found what I think is the current collection that's on display, which is Scientists at a Glance. There's some good ones. Anybody find something different, or did you click on more collections? Kings and Queens of Britain. Lindsay
that's a good one.
Lindsay went royal on us. I'd also love to know, what might you use that for? So if you found something, what might you use it for? Hi, Mona. We just had Mona join us. We are doing a little searching, Mona. So if you bring up your NCEdCloud, we're in Britannica right now.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Lila has a good idea. Probe notebooks for students. Lindsay says, I'm just saying them out loud for the recording because I don't know that people will see it. Going back to high school English days when you're taught feudalism. I think there could be some interesting things that really just in general biographies, right? What I'm looking at with a lot of these collections, the pattern I notice is that they're very people focused. So a great way that, you can supplement, especially librarians, there's only so many biographies we can usually check out whenever someone needs a whole group of biographies. This is a great way to supplement that. The scientist one that Belva shared, I thought that was exciting to see towards the front. But there's also an inventors one. So that might be kind of interesting too, to do some compare and contrast what lands somebody as a scientist versus an inventor. Is there anybody that has some crossover?
That's a good one that Martha has. Indigenous people.
Martha found Indigenous people of the Americas, and that Indigenous Peoples Month comes up next month on Friday, so that's perfect timing. I do want to show y'all how to get into, so if you are in Britannica and you found it, you will notice on the bottom that you could search more. So I think that's probably how people who went beyond scientists. So if you're scientists at a glance, but if you do at a glance, like Audrey said, here's all of them come up, right? But you can also, you notice it says on the top, you searched for at a glance. So up in the search bar, you can just do, this could be one of those prompts that you ask teachers, go in and find something that you would teach with. And just by searching at a glance, they would have all these pages to go through. Okay.
Right.
Any questions about this before we move on? Okay. Just wanted to get you like one of those quick ideas to get started with. So again, good for students, good for staff in terms of teaching them how to find something. So this is where some brainstorming together would be really beneficial. So we know, like, kind of if we're entering into we're starting now entering into this corn maze, right? But we know that our students need that access as well. So when it comes to getting students signed in, does anyone feel comfortable sharing either in the chat or welcome to unmute? Because again, we're just a small group. Talk about how you have your students log in. Are there any challenges that come up when you're logging in and accessing these tools? And hi, Laura, welcome. If you want to bring up your NCEdCloud, we're doing some fun things actually in these different resources. So, but right now we're just talking about access and helping our students get in.
I think sometimes for elementary, the platform has changed, which is great because there's so many topics within Britannica at the elementary level, and I think it can be overwhelming, especially for the younger learners. So, you know, I like to have my device up on a board so I can show them specifically where to go to. But I haven't used it yet this year for the kids, but I think that new layout makes it a little bit easier for them to be able to go in and navigate.
Perfect. That's good to hear. And then Martha shared in the chat too about having students go through ClassLink, which is what I think is becoming more and more the norm, is that people are able to get that up through ClassLink. So they'll see the Britannica icon and can go right to Britannica, right? So as long as they know how to get into their ClassLink, it should be that easy to access. But if you have questions or concerns or, you know, good hacks that come up, please let Audrey and I know, because we'd love to pass that on to other people. And it, you know, to be quite honest with you all, it has changed. Yeah. So if you do have students who are using NCEdCloud and that's the way that they get in, that's a great way to kind of get practicing. And I like what Lila said, just kind of having your screen up to show them how, you know, what the clicks are. All right. And then I've already mentioned this, but if there's any support that you need in terms of access, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd rather you reach out and us problem solve with you than be frustrated and end up not using things. Or if you're hearing that from teachers, like, yeah, let us know, because we want to, you know, as Audrey said at the very top of this, we have somebody specifically who will help us work through that. All right. This is my fancy transition to say here, moving on. From getting into the maze, and we're going to go to the next one, which is another strategy. So just like the great strategy that Martha shared with her cute bowl, one other strategy that you could use to kind of help navigate this maze would be a digital escape room. And that's actually kind of the motivation behind this maze. Audrey and I went to Elizabeth City, like I said, recently, and we had people actually do a digital escape room. Did you know that one exists already for EBSCO? No. Cool. We're going to show you how to get to it in just a second. It's already made. So you could like either just use it as it is, or you could, you know, use it as a inspiration to make another one. Okay. So here's what you need in EBSCO. Okay. So we just went in Britannica. Now you want to go in EBSCO Explorer. Go to middle school again. We'll just make it easy and stick with middle school for now. All right, in Explorer, in middle school, see if you can search for speed of light in the search bar. And in the chat, tell us what is faster than the speed of light. What is a response? What's an answer you get to the question? Don't Google it, do not cheat, and do not Google it, because you're going to get a weird AI answer at the top now. Oh, Heather and Lindsay, I see you typing. Race is on. It is a measurement. Is there anything that's faster than the speed of light? She gave us a good definition. Heather gave us humor. Roberta's trying to come up with an answer. This one took people a few minutes too when we did this.
Yeah.
What is the speed of light in Jello?
Hello.
That sounds like a science experiment to try. Thanks, EBSCO. So it could be super fun. So here's the thing. It's not like Google, right? And that's kind of what we wanted people to experience. There is an answer in there. You do have to read an article to find it. So if you're setting up a digital escape room, it might be answer this question, and then on the next page could be tell me where you found it, right? So to kind of get them. Now, what we found was that most teachers who did this, they actually read the article, right, Audrey? Weren't they like,
right?
They were reading articles to try to find the answer instead of just guessing. So the answer is nothing. Nothing is faster than the speed of light out of the options that we were given in the digital escape room. So this escape room does exist. If you want to know how to find it, you're going to back out of EBSCO and out of Explora. And you're looking in the main NCEdCloud window for this resources toolkit icon. Is that familiar? Okay. Laura says yes, so good. One person knows. When you click on that toolkit, you'll go in the educator part, and then under classroom strategies, there's something that says lessons, scavenger hunts, and more. So many good things are buried in there. I would love to know if anybody uses them or were even aware that they existed. I'll show you just real quick in case you're not familiar. So toolkit looks like this. And then you have all kinds of things in here. I can't tell you how many times in the last month I've talked to Audrey and she has pointed me towards something in here. So there's a lot in here. But here, right here under classroom strategies is lessons, scavenger hunts, and more. So Britannica has some, but the thing that we just shared with you was right here from this Explora escape room, and it opens up a Google Doc or a Google form just like that. So again, you could use this just as it is, or it could be your inspiration for creating something that might work differently for you. But kind of a cool concept. Any questions? Anything people want to add? Other than now somebody's totally going to go do a speed of light in Jello science experiment. Thank you, Roberta. Even shared the article with us. See, that should be it. That should be the next step, would be share the article link so that you can verify that's where they got it from. All right, moving on. Audrey has a couple questions for you, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is just kind of in general. We would like to hear from you. How do you use any of these databases to teach research?
Yeah, the various databases that's in EBSCO. Can you bring up that page for me, Molly?
Sure can. So in EBSCO, you want me to show?
Yeah. Just
up on the top.
Yeah. No, just that. Yeah. And sort of like as I talk, sort of scroll down. Now we're all familiar, of course, with New Explorer and New Publication Finder and everything, but I'm interested in knowing what other databases that are listed here are you using. We all know that you can, you have a plethora of resources for your core subjects, but I'd also like to know, do you use any of these databases for CTE courses? And if so, which databases and how are you using them? So is anyone using any of these databases for your CTE courses, like Small Engine, Small Business Source, Auto Repair, the History, Health Source? And I know we talked a lot about the Novelist K8 last time, so I know everyone is familiar with that. And we also talked about Points of View. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to know if anybody is using any of the other databases specifically for CTE. So do we have any answers out there? Anyone else using those for CTE? I don't know, looks like we don't. Let me see.
Not yet.
No.
Roberta's writing something.
Yeah.
And if you do pass some of these things along and do hear, we'd love to know about it, because we want, again, sometimes it's just coming through librarians that they hear of these new things. So we'd like to pass it along.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Lindsay. True.
We're also doing a little bit of research too to find out, what else is out there, and how do people use them beyond North Carolina. So if you hear of things, please let us know. And we, that's the kind of, again, brainstorming, going back and forth. So Roberta did say that she's helped CTE health science teacher do research, and that specific database was helpful. So,
Great.
Those of you that work with high school librarians, I think this is a great thing for them to kind of pass along. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Thanks for sharing that, Roberta.
All right. So that was kind of a research-ish brainstorm we wanted to do with you. Laura looks like she's saying something too. So maybe. Says you're typing. All right. Moving on. I have one more thing to share with you, and then Audrey's going to share this really cool new thing with you. So there's some interesting things out there that we could potentially use these things in with conjunction with AI. And so one way that I've heard people talk about doing this would be going into a Britannica article and copying and pasting it and doing text leveling in something like Magic School. How do we as librarians feel about that? Give me a hands up if you think you would stop somebody from doing that. Okay. We're hesitant, not really sure. That's okay. And yes, I'm with Martha. I have stopped someone myself. So, and if I'm correct, Audrey, didn't you reach out and ask?
Yeah, because Stacy had brought it up first through, I can never remember. Is it Diffit? Was it Diffit I was telling you about, Martha? I think it was Diffit. And with that, we reached out both to Britannica and EBSCO. And they said that we couldn't, because what we were going to do is, I think, copy paste an article from like Britannica, and then go to Diffit and pretty much redo it. But yeah, we couldn't do that. So, but
I think it's just good to remember, like, this is copyrighted information. So it's no different than running it to the copier and doing something, or scanning it and posting it online if that's not what you're supposed to do. Right. And basically by somebody doing that, they're copying and pasting. That's their copyrighted information, and you're just handing it over to some databases that you don't have permission to do it to. Are people doing it? I'm sure they are. But being those people that we are as librarians, and knowing like ethical use is a big part of who we are and what we do, I hate to tell somebody they can't do something and not give them a better solution, right? So it could be that you text level. And I agree. So Katie even said, not sure why you even do it, because they are leveled. So yes, they are. I was going to mention that too. Thank you for saying it, Katie. They are already leveled. You can change the level of any Britannica article. And then they have that amazing translation feature. So thank you for pointing both of those things out, because exactly, you don't really have to do that. How there are some good things. So, yes, please don't do that. But, try to give some good solutions, like Katie said, that you can change the level already, that you can translate it. There's some really great things already built in. But what you could do, kind of pointing towards more ethical use of some of these resources would be, so I'm going to test you on this. Okay. So I have 2 different quick articles or quick blurbs from Britannica or from AI. So I want to know if you think this little description of corn, I'm going to give you 2. So you're going to read this one first, and then I'm going to give you another one, and I want you to guess if AI wrote it or if Britannica wrote it. So this is number 1. You're going to be able to see it again, so don't worry if you haven't committed it to memory. Here's number 2. Thanks for being here, Roberta. All right, I'm going to put them side by side, so it's okay if you didn't finish. You'll still be able to evaluate. But tell me in the chat after you've had a minute to evaluate it if you think the yellow one is AI or if the green one is AI.
Hmm. And I was going to say, I guess I was going to say the green. I don't know. Green.
See, Audrey knew I was doing this, but I didn't tell her which one it is.
No, she didn't.
All right, so far strong on yellow, couple greens. I know a couple people are typing, so I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky because they both have some good things that they point out. They both are written actually in a very kind of, similar tone. Okay, so strong on the yellow and a handful of green. And Heather thinks that green sounds like a Britannica. Well, I did ask AI to write it in the style of an encyclopedic article. So I did ask it that. I was that specific. And then I even asked it to change something so that it would not be correct. So I knew when I did this, I was like, well, it's all going to be, for the most part, accurate. And it was hilarious because the one thing it changed was how many years ago. I was like, no one's going to know that. So the green one actually was written by AI. So I used Claude.
Oh, okay.
I did not copy and paste. So I just asked it to write me a 1-paragraph article for about a middle school level encyclopedic article on the history of maize. And so it was funny because the one incorrect, like I said, the incorrect data that it gave me was that it was first domesticated around 4,000 years ago. I was like, well, it's not going to stump anybody. So I think it's important to this could be a way that you could say how would you evaluate it, right? And so I think that there's some interesting things that we can do here, and again, without doing copy and paste. This is tricky, and I just also want to say for you all, but also for your students, there's no shame in guessing it wrong. That's how good AI is, and it's actually factually correct. So that's what kind of stumps people sometimes is it doesn't always give you wrong information, especially something historical like this. It's not going to tell you who won the World Series game last night because that's new data. But I was thinking a lot about this and this ethical side of copying and pasting from a platform like Britannica, and how can we use it in conjunction with, all the AI tools. And it could be something like this, right? So giving them something that AI produced, giving them something to read from Britannica or from EBSCO, and compare and contrast the two things, or ask them to fact check it, or how would you write it differently or improve it? How would you change it for a different audience? Those kinds of things can be a way that you can level it and use AI kind of in conjunction. Another idea could be something like examine the text. So sometimes when you read an article from EBSCO, it's very text heavy. A lot of EBSCO doesn't have the visual enhancements that Britannica does. Britannica is a lot more visual. So one thing that you could ask students to do would be read something from EBSCO, whether you print it or give it to them digitally, and then maybe ask them to create a prompt, right? So write a prompt to make an image that summarizes or would complement what we read in this, and then they could give you the prompt, and you would maybe be the AI generator. So I know a lot of our students don't have access to this yet, and that's okay. They don't have to have access to the AI for you to still be able to enhance some of this with AI. So just wanted to throw those couple ideas, and if anybody else has an idea you want to share out how you might use AI with one of these tools, I'd love to hear it. Put it in the chat. Or if you might run with one of these ideas, that works too. All right, Audrey.
Okay.
Katie's got ideas. Hang on. Katie's going to tell us something. I'll switch it from this, though, because people always complain that these get a little, when it's visual, it's hard. Can get a little dizzy. I don't want to make people dizzy. I'm excited to see what Katie has to say, and then I'm really excited for you all to see Teach Britannica.
Okay. You ready for me?
Yeah, I can read what Katie has to say after she puts it in the chat. Go for it.
Okay. As you know, last time when we met, Teach Britannica either had just come out or it was about to come out. And so now Teach Britannica is out. And at first when they first brought it out, we had to access Teach Britannica via the web. We weren't able to access it via NCEdCloud, which for some it posed a problem because their districts blocked it, so they had a hard time accessing it. But now I'm glad to tell you that now everyone can actually access Teach Britannica via NCEdCloud. That just came about this week. So Molly's going to show you right quick as I continue to talk how you can access Teach Britannica. You just click on it looks like a little flower. You would click on that, and actually the teachers, they'll go to Britannica staff, and you click on that, and as you can see right at the top, you'll see Teach Britannica. When you open up Teach Britannica, it has your elementary, middle, and high school. And if you click on, since we're going with middle, we'll just go ahead and click on middle, and you'll see you have lesson minis, instructional strategies, and graphic organizers. And the lesson minis are really good. It'll give you, it gives you, as you can see, the grade levels for each lesson mini. It'll give you how many activities that are associated with that particular lesson plan, gives you ideas, key vocabulary definitions. And as you can read, you'll see the different things that's offered for that particular lesson, for that particular lesson plan. So everything is out there for you, actually. And then for the graphic, and it actually, another thing, a good thing, it tells you what type of resources you need, and also how many minutes it'll take to do that particular lesson. And then you have your graphic images and your instructional strategies. As you can see, your graphic organizers are basically, as it says, graphics. And then also you have your instructional strategies that gives you information about that. It gives you the description. It gives you the minutes, how long it's going to take. That's what I really like, because it gives you the time frame for each lesson. So it really helps you to plan around that. So what we're going to do now is just let you all just sort of play around in this section and Teach Britannica. And once, I think we're giving you like a minute. And then afterwards, if you all can just come back and just share with us what you all found in the different, which ones you delved into as far as your lesson minutes and everything. Well, that's good. Did you see what Katie suggested? That's good.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
excellent point.
Mhm.
All right, y'all, it was a fast minute. Do y'all need another minute? We good? You can keep looking if you want, but we do want to hear, either tell us in the chat or unmute and tell us what you explored, what you're excited to see. I think sometimes people are more quiet because we're recording.
Oh, okay.
They don't want to be on record. But that's okay. You can use the chat. I feel like Teach Britannica is kind of a game changer in terms of if I was going to try to talk teachers into using them,
Yeah.
that I'd have something again like I can hand to them and not just say, go use this platform and here's how you can use it. But like if you're trying to teach this, here's something I can hand you, a lesson plan, and here's the platform. Laura said the high school resources have acquiring vocabulary instructional strategies. That sounds really great. And that Martha said also in instructional strategies that they have different levels and filter options. So yeah, you can like just search instructional strategies, but then filter down. You know, us librarians, we like specific searches. We get degrees in that. And Jennifer is also commenting on vocabularies, tons of graphic organizers. Yes. I mean, I feel like it works in conjunction with Britannica, but there's a lot that we can use with them. So yes to using it with Britannica and then beyond. Lindsay noted collaboration strategies, and Laura said this is great for a quick how-to mini PD for librarians. And so again, at the very top, we talked about like that 5-minute lesson, you know, putting a couple of these printed, you know, print them and lay them out on the staff meeting tables, and, you know, it leads to some good conversation, even without it being a full-blown, you know, well, where did you find this? How did you access it? You know, and that way a librarian can get some like in the moment, you know, ooh, I saw Laura was really interested. I'm going to make a note of myself to go find out if Laura is actually using that graphic organizer I left on her table and find out how I can get some materials to support her.
Hey guys, it's Heather. Mollee and Audrey, I haven't even had a chance to follow up with you guys after my conversation with our rep from Britannica. But I met with him yesterday afternoon, and they are going to continue to build this out, which is amazing.
Okay.
I told him it reminds me of kind of like Discovery Ed when they did their instructional strategies and pieces, and he said they got a little inspiration from that. So that is exciting to know that they're trying to continue to build the resources and build the connections. The other thing that I have had concern about is when I was in the classroom and in the media center, we could search by standards and within Britannica.
Oh, okay.
And so I talked to him yesterday about that and thought I would just share with everybody. Due to like data privacy and things like that, and kind of some heightened alert around that in the State Department, we had to cut off some of those features. So I just want you to know that I am back pursuing that to see if some of their Britannica security measures can now meet our security requirements at the state, so that we can get that standard search back, and that'll give you another piece to help advocate and show teachers how they can directly implement these resources in their classroom. So just wanted to update all of you together on what I found out yesterday. But it is exciting that they're continuing to grow this Teach Britannica piece.
Thank you, Heather. So just goes to show, like, we're always learning about these new things that they have coming out, and Audrey and Heather are in contact with Britannica and EBSCO and a lot of these vendors on a very regular basis, which is why this is mutually beneficial, that we get to share some things with you all, but we take back, like Jennifer saying, hopefully they develop more mini lessons for high school. That's direct feedback that I know Audrey will pass along.
I was going to say, they have a fourth section that's supposed to be for, can you open it up again, Mollee? I think they said it's supposed to be like for, wait a minute, hold on.
That toolkit.
Yeah, the academic toolkit. Jennifer, look into in that to see if that might be something that you, because I know they were telling us that the academic toolkit was basically for your, like the college level. Mm-hmm. So maybe that might be close to what you're looking for as far as high schoolers.
So definitely some things to look into, and please let us know, either through the chat, reach out to Audrey and I, as things come up and you hear, we would love to kind of keep knowing what we can do to support you. So the last thing we have to point out to you before we wrap this up is, along with what we can do to support you, that there's actually lots of webinars and good things out there. And now Teach Britannica is actually hosting some webinars. And I will drop this link actually in the chat. Hang on. I made a link, but you don't have access to this. So let me link it in here. So they have these the webinars that are happening like now. Like Audrey said, that just came out within the last month. Teach Britannica went live, and they've already had several webinars. We missed one yesterday, was called Revitalize Your Library Program with Teach Britannica. So very on brand with what we're here talking about today. And as soon as they're over, they are posted. So that link that just shared with you should also give you access to the recordings, or you can sign up with these upcoming ones that are coming up in early November. So one more way that you can keep learning. But either way, we're going to keep learning. So we'll keep learning. We'll keep passing things along, either through these virtual opportunities, or I know some of you are at the director level, and we'll probably see you out at Digital Leaders Exchanges. Audrey is doing some sessions on Britannica and EBSCO there, correct?
True. Yeah, exactly. Actually, and me and Heather are going to do some co-presenting too with that at the DLE, at the next DLEs in November. So,
perfect. Yeah. So we have a lot that we're still getting out there, and keep us in the loop about what else you want to learn about. We'll put it in, all the ways that we get out to you, newsletters and virtual learning and all this good stuff. But we also wanted you to get it directly from the source, if that's helpful. So Heather, what'd you just share?
Yeah, I was going to share Lindsay. It's very interesting because I kind of got tickled last Wednesday. Lindsay Sipe on our team did a session about AI and school library media. And it was so great and so well received that guess what? She's doing a part 2. And so I got tickled last week when it ended up with a part 2, because I was like, that is so our school library world. And I just love that we're all continuing to be so eager to learn. But she's got the Empowering Librarians and Teachers with AI part 2 on November 13th at 10 o'clock. So hopefully that link worked. And then if you want to go back and watch part 1, That is on our DTL Learning website and under previous webinars. So all of them, like this one, all of them are recorded, and then we get them loaded up to our website so that you can go back and watch those anytime. So just wanted to throw that one out there because that is another one that's targeted specifically for like school library media coordinators, and part 1 was wonderful.
I know. I had to give her a hard time. She scheduled that when I was hanging out with librarians at NCAT. I was like, what's with this? And she's like, don't worry, I'll do it again. Okay, perfect. So I will be definitely attending that one with Lindsay. And so, always good thing. Lots of support for librarians. I've said that a lot with this role, that there's like a team of us. There's a very big team of us with a lot of interest in supporting libraries. So, and we, roped Audrey right on board with that. I dropped the feedback. I dropped the feedback form because we do really read them. Like I said, we kind of modeled a lot of what we wanted to talk about today based on the feedback from last time and your sign up for this time. I'm going to stop recording so that I can play for you a little happy Halloween song.